Really?
This week, Cutting Edge turns the spotlight onto a dodgy car dealership trading as Motor World in Durban. Previously in Pinetown, then in the CBD of Durban, customers alleged that a dealership operating as Motor World has disappeared with their money.
For me, the moment you interact and we are sweet talker, you kind of like feel big as and valued.
All we did was go to a dealership and buy a car. So, sorry, but it really feels like a raw deal for us.
Listen, my friend, I said to you, this is not like what you're doing now. This is illegal. This is absolutely illegal.
So is stealing from people, Mr. Marumutu.
Sorry?
So is taking people's money under the guise that you're going to sell their cars and not do it. That is theft.
Listen to me. You are doing nonsense now. I'm going to cut your call, right? And if ever you use this here, I will take you up legally, okay?
We fought a lot. Sikhona ngoMay emotional ngeke adinga ukuthi angibone ngoba wasala ke mbamba ngezandla.
When this southern KwaZulu-Natal wife and mother of 2 boys entered the market to purchase a car, she searched car dealership to car dealership until she came across Motor World in Pinetown.
We sort of started looking online and driving past dealerships to see what was out there. Found the car. They agreed to send it to a friend who was a mechanic to have it looked over and to have it checked and to see if everything was good, and we liked it. So this is the one. Signed the sale agreement. Started getting the money together. I had to take out a loan for a portion of the car.
On the other side of town, this businessman, who has asked for us to keep him anonymous, used an online platform to get word out to prospective buyers.
I posted my car online. We look on a platform Megam3. Well, I was getting my responses, and then finally I got the response from Motor World saying they are a dealership in Pinetown, and they actually have a huge following and fans and customers. They can actually get this car, sold maybe in 1 or 2 weeks. So that's how I got hold of Motor World. And when I handed the car over, I handed to a guy called Rajan Marumutu. So he was the one who's actually opaliwe nalapha phansi emaviphini.
Buyani, which is not his real name, was looking forward to the soon-coming sale of his car. He had plans of completing a postgraduate qualification with the proceeds of the sale. Things were indeed looking up.
Basically, yeah, I handed over the car and thinking that it will sell for like in 2 or 3 weeks. However, the car did not sell. We ended up going to the following year. And then in February, there was a person who was interested in the car. And well, I got a call to say we'll have to come to a negotiation. And because, yeah, the car has been there for too long. And it has actually gone over to 2020. So, yeah, I thought about it and then I said, yes, it's fine. We come to a negotiation. I signed the agreement on the 6th of March, and I was actually promised, and also it's on the document that I'll be paid. I was going to be paid on the 3rd of April 2020. The date of April 2020 came, and there were no funds.
So that was really when we started to realize that this is really not...
After organizing finance for the vehicle, none suspecting buyer Juanita Skierpes, also not her real name, headed over to the dealership, excited to transact.
They wanted cash, and I will never carry that much cash around with me. So they agreed that we could do EFT. When we originally went to sign the sale agreement, we paid a 10,000 Rand deposit for them to hold the car, which was paid by EFT. And when we went to pay for the car, because we'd taken a loan, the money was split into 2 accounts, and they made sure that we had... They gave us an ABSA account for the ABSA payments and a standard account for the standard payments, so that they would both be immediate payments. There would be no delay for interbank transfers and things like that, which we did while we were at the dealership, and they wouldn't let us take the car until the money had cleared into the 2 accounts.
She made a payment of 41,000 to an ABSA account belonging to a certain E. Pillay and another 34,000 to a Standard Bank account belonging to a TC Pillay. Why not into a business account belonging to Motor World?
And who was your salesperson, and how was the experience with the salesperson? Did you trust them? Did you suspect anything was untoward?
No, not at all. The original salesperson was a young man by the name of Darian, who was a part-time student and salesman. He dealt with my call in the beginning, but when we arrived at the dealership, we dealt with Rajan, who was the manager of the dealership. And no, we didn't think anything untoward of him. He gave us his contact details. He was on WhatsApp. His pictures shows a family man. There was nothing that set off any alarm bells. And we had checked out Motor World's reputation online from what we could see, and it did seem like a legitimate dealership.
It wasn't long after they took possession of the car that problems began to arise with the dealership.
Well, the first problem was the license disc expired in August, and the dealership then, at the time, we needed to call them. It had been locked down, they were closed. We called them and we said, this disc is expiring, so now we need to do something. So they said, yes, they'll give us a temporary license, we just need to come in. And we said, well, at the same time, what's happening with regards to the paperwork? And they said then that they had moved and that the paperwork has been misplaced in the move.
Yeah.
But, that they'll sort it out. So we went into the dealership and they gave us one of these temporary license pages that will expire in 21 days. And, that seemed in order, because why would they do that if they had no intention of giving us the logbook?
The Hlongwa family, who are also in KwaZulu-Natal, realized that they had more cars than they needed. They thought about turning one of their older vehicles into fluid cash.
Imoto Toyota Corolla Quest model 2014 silver grey. Ngangithenge ngo-2015. Ngase ngithenga enye ngo-2019. Ngase ngabona ukuthi ngoba le isi-paid up, uma bengiyidayisa ngizothola extra cash, ngikwazi ukuvala amanye ezinye izikweleti bese ngikwazi ukumanage kahle i-installment yemoto engiyithengile enye. Ubaba uHlongwa yayi-advertise ku-Gumtree. sasithi izoba 120,000. Wase yabuya-ke wathi u-approachwe i-dealership yaka-Motor World bathe bazosidayisela. Sase siyahlangana nabo-ke babe sase-Pinetown. Imabe isithengiwe kwase imali si-reflecta kwi-account yabo. Bakhokha within 30 days after si-reflectile kwi-account yabo.
In South Africa, a logbook is the document which is used to change ownership and functions like a title deed, which lists the owners of the vehicle. It is recommended that the buyer finalize change of ownership before finalizing the sale of a vehicle.
Base beyafona bathi ibhenki ukuze likwazi ukufinansa lo ithengayo lidinga logbook. Ngase ngiyayi-emaila ke logbook. Abakaze ke basitsheleke i-date especific ukuthi idayiswe nini kodwa ngokubona indlela sasixhumana ngayo yadayiswa around month end kaJanuary 2020. Kwase kuyacweba ke emva kalokho from January kucwebile saze saqala ukubabuza ukuthi kanti kwenzakalani kwaku around March, beginning of March ukuthi imoto senidayisile phela ngithi silethi logbook senidayisile imoto iphi imali. Base bethi hayi bazokhokha ngomhla 26 March. Ngomhla 26 March kwase kuqala i-lockdown kwase kuvele kuyacweba ke. Kwacweba nje unomphela nami ngathi ukuziba ngoba vele nathi sasinalento ukuthi i-lockdown asijwayele kwenzakalani. Kwathi ngoMay saqala phansi futhi sabafonela baloke benika ama-excuses.
We fought a lot. Sikhona ngoMay emotional angikabuye adinga ukuthi angibone ngoba wasala ke mbambe ngezandla. And ngoba yonke i-patience enginayo ne-reasoning yami were all gone died because ayikho into angayibona enobulungiswa i-justice ayenzayo kule deal. So ke sesiye eThekwini ngoDecember last year safike ngekho umfana sakhuluma naye wathi uresignile washiya company. Indaba yethu izolungiswa uTerence wathi washo njalo. Lo Terence azangenze lutho kuna salokho ngathola i-email ethi bazokhokha 90 days which is 3 weeks ngenye indlela. 3 weeks 3 months. Manje ke okwamanje ngizwile ukuthi mangibazingela futhi abasekho la eThekwini ku West Street. Ngisafuna bathola la bakube ngizothola mina privately ukuthi ikhampani onoshawura jen iphi. Khona ngizothola ukuhlala kuphi njengamanje.
The Motor World dealership that they claimed to have visited was no longer at their premises in Pinetown, and they had also vacated their city centre car dealership. Their clients were now left with doors to knock on. A simple internet search led us to several other complaints on Hello Peter. Cutting Edge is aware of and in touch with more victims of this particular dealership, while these victims of Motor World have in their possession documents signed by a certain alleged Rajen Marimitu, and some refer to him as Rajen Munsami. After an off-the-record meeting with Rajen Munsami, in which he agreed to a recorded telephone interview, he soon went underground again and was hard to find.
Hello? Hey, Rajan, how are you?
Well, again?
I'm okay. It's Njabulo from SABC News.
Yes,
I'm fine. I just wanted to ask you something.
yeah.
What was your modus operandi? You said to me on Saturday that you guys had 5 people or so that would call clients. How did that work? When you worked at Motor World?
I can't hear what you were saying. What you were saying?
I asked you that when you were at Motor World.
Yeah.
How did you guys find customers?
How did we find customers?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a sales team that used to phone customers.
Yeah, but how would they get their contact details?
Well, they'll go on the net, they'll go on the internet and check who's selling cars, go on the different platforms where people are selling cars and stuff like that, and phone them and ask them whether they wanted to bring the cars in to sell.
Yeah. And what would you offer them? Sort of, why would people offer to go with you guys and not sell their own cars?
Well, basically, people probably feel much, a little bit more relaxed when it's at a dealership, you know what I'm saying? So they don't have to do the hard work. The dealership has a clientele and ways of advertising, so it could possibly get sold quicker that way.
So that's what would be in the deal. What would be, so you guys offered to sell people's cars on their behalf?
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
And what was in it for you?
Well, obviously the cars that the people give you a price, then the dealership will go and put a small markup on it and sell the car.
And you would obviously promise people that you will pay them back as soon as the car got sold.
Yeah, the policy of the company was 7 to 31 days for payments to customers. That's what was the policy of the company.
And we know now that didn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
But your name is on the sale agreement for these transactions. I mean, what type of responsibility do you take?
Well, tell me something. Now that you're calling me, are you recording this call? Because questions you're asking me.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
No, but you can't record the call without my consent. I did tell you that, and I think now you're not doing the right thing.
You and I have an agreement. We agreed to this call.
No, but you're supposed to have told me that, you know what, I'm calling you and I'm recording the call.
Why is your name Rajan Marimutu or Munsami? Why do you use two names?
Okay, listen, I'm going to cut the call.
Do you take any responsibility for people not receiving their money?
How can I take responsibility when the money didn't come to me?
So why do you use two names? Why are you lying to your clients?
What name?
Are you Munsami or Marimutu?
Listen, my friend, I said to you, this is not like what you're doing now. This is illegal. This is absolutely illegal.
So is stealing from people, Mr. Marimutu.
Sorry?
So is taking people's money under the guise that you're going to sell their cars and not do it. That is theft.
Listen to me. You are doing nonsense now. I'm going to cut your call, right? And if ever you use this here, I will take you up legally, okay?
That's 100% fine with me. Are you still in touch?
Victims of the scam allege that they were introduced to the owner of this Motor World as the accountant of the dealership, and often under many different names to create confusion. He often goes by Terence Naidu, or Pillay, or Sadhafisan.
Hi, I'm not available right now. Please leave a detailed message and your name and your contact number for the
Here's the guy calling back. Hello, how are you?
Hello?
Hi there, is this Terence?
Yes, sir.
My name is Njabulo from SABC News. Are you well?
Not one at the moment, sir.
Okay, cool. I just have a couple of questions for you. I want to talk about a couple of sales that went through Motor World.
Yes.
Okay. What happens? Do you guys sell people's cars? You guys owe a lot of people a lot of money.
Sir, can you send me an email address and I can send you an email?
Can you give me an email address?
SMS me an email address.
Excuse me?
Can you SMS me an email address?
Give me yours.
Give me yours and I'll send you an email, okay?
No, give me yours. I know you're very good at sort of disappearing.
Sorry?
You are very good at disappearing, sir.
No, I'm not going to disappear, so it's not like that.
When can I meet you?
I'm out of town at the moment.
Which town are you out of?
Sir?
Which town are you out of? What do you mean you're out of town?
Let me get my attorney to give you a call then.
Give me your attorney's phone number.
Sorry?
Give me your attorney's phone number.
Okay, I'll get someone to call you, no problem.
No. I'm gonna hold. You get me your attorney's number.
Sir?
Give me your email address.
Okay.
Give me
I'll
your.
SMS it to you.
Excuse me?
I'll SMS it to you.
You'll SMS me your email address.
Yes.
Yeah, but you owe the Hlonga family at least 60,000 rand after you sold their car.
Sorry?
You have people that gave you their cars to sell that can't change ownership of their cars.
So it was an organization, a company. Things went bad in the last year. That's why I said I'll send you an email.
Okay.
And take it from there.
What about the monies that you're not paying to people?
So I just need to restructure. It's an organization, as I said to you. There were many challenges in the previous year that went past, many challenges that created a backlog.
What do you mean a backlog? Because these things go on for as early as 2017. It's not only last year. Even 2015, you've been on carte blanche before. You constantly have backlog.
Let me send you an email and let me take it from there.
Look, give us your email address. Let's set up let us set up an on. Are you interested in setting up a camera on TV interview so that you can answer to allegations put against you?
No, I don't think I want to do that, no.
Why do you not want to do that? Don't you think people deserve justice? Do they not deserve their money?
Yes, they do.
Huh? Keep running. This is Monsami. Hello?
Hi, who's speaking?
It's Njabulo Shabangu from SABC.
Yeah, Jabula.
I'm listening.
Is it possible to have a conversation without you recording, please?
Listen, I've given you that opportunity. I've played open cards with you. I've been frank with you. And you left me no choice.
No. Listen. This is one thing I want to clarify. I never told you that my name was Marimutu or Munsami or whatever. I didn't tell you anything what my name was. You told me and you called me Munsami. I don't know where you got that from. I never gave you a name. The people out there know my name, and it's also documented because I met with the police today. So at the end of the day, as I told you when I met the police today, they told me straight. They said, Mister, you got nothing to do with this here. You was an employee of the company, and I don't see why you should be dragged into this because the people that put the signature and the people that the money is went to, they are responsible for all this.
So you are making money by taking people's cars and not paying them.
I never make money. Didn't I tell you I didn't make money? The money never comes to me.
Were you not?
You don't understand. You're telling me I made money.
Were you not collecting a salary from that company?
Sorry?
Were you not collecting a salary from that company?
Listen, Jabola, you are a person, I'll tell you now, right? You're not a third person. It's fine. It's fine the way you're operating. It's fine the way you're operating. You carry on. You know what you need to do because you know why? You've got a job to do at the end of the day. You carry on.
Do you think you're a fair person?
Sorry?
Do you think that you are a fair person?
Obviously, I'm a fair person. I haven't done anything wrong.
Do you think that if you sell a car to someone and you don't give them a logbook, nor do you give the seller their money, you've given them 0 rands?
I'm not having any other conversation with you. All I said to you, you complicated the names. So that's your problem.
Well, you stole people's money. That's your problem. You need to pay the money.
You had a name in your mind, in your thoughts, and I don't know where you got that name from. So you confused. That's your problem, right? Don't push it onto me, please.
Let's talk about the money.
No, I'm not going to talk about anything.
You are the manager at the dealership. You signed sale agreements with people.
Since his denial of not being Mr. Munsami or Marimutu, we contacted Mr. Rajen for the second time to get clarity on what name he actually responds to.
Who was responsible? Who was the manager at the time when the car was sold, sir?
The manager, I was the manager, yes.
You were the manager. Are you Rajen Monsami or Marimotu?
My name is Rajan Marimutu.
Your name is Rajen Marimotu. Okay. And then I just want to quickly find out, did you promise Mr. That you will make a payment on the to his account in March?
I can't make any promises because at the end of the day, I only work there. The promises and the commitment would have came from the owner of the company.
Who was the owner of the company, sir?
The owner of the company was Rajan Pillai.
Okay. So are you saying to me you are not you're a Rajan Pillai?
Okay. Are you still recording, man?
I am. I did say I'm still recording. I'm just going to ask you quick questions and that's it for me. Because I just want to get some clarity from you.
No, I'm not Rajan Pillai. I told you Rajan Pillai owned the company.
Okay.
He owned the company. He's the owner of the company.
Okay.
All right. So they do the payments. The money is going to their account.
Okay.
That is it. Yeah.
Which account is this? Their personal accounts.
Their personal accounts. Yeah.
So why was the money going to their personal accounts if you guys worked for Motor World, not to the company's car?
It was always the case, man.
Why was that, say, if I may ask?
I don't know. It's that you need to ask him.
Once again, we contacted Terence Pillay following allegations by Marimotu, and we were met with his standard response.
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, yourself?
I'm good, thanks. Am I speaking to Mr. Terence Pillay?
Yes, what can I do for you, sir?
Sorry?
What can I do for you, sir?
Is that Terence Pillay that I'm speaking to?
Yes.
Mr. Terence Pillay, you are speaking to Shengiwe from the SABC. I just quickly have questions for you.
I have sent something from the attorneys. Have you received it?
His attorney's letter stated that we should desist from airing the show. After what she describes as numerous phone calls and emails, and almost a year later, Juanita Skeepers realizes that she will not be getting any help or answers from Motor World.
Eventually, I got Motor World to give it to me in writing that they would sort out the car. And obviously, the 60 days that they had stipulated in the email lapsed. And I tried to email them back, no answer. Phoned them, they then said, no, it's 60 business days and that will take us to the beginning of January. And I just thought, you know what, it's coming up to almost a year of this nonsense. Something is not right. So I started to do a bit of digging, and when I looked up the CK number of that's on the sale agreement, and that led me to articles that were slightly fishy and it made me concerned. So I decided that I thought that they were lying, Motor World was lying, and I went through the service records of the book, and I found details of a previous owner, but then I also found just one little ticket for one of these car sales lots that had phone number on it. So I thought, you know what, I'll give that one a try first. And I phoned him and I said, did you own a Mazda 2 and you sold it to Motor World? And he said yes. And we then chatted for a long time.
Well, she called me in the early days or late January 2021, saying that she found my details on the poster that I used to sell my car. And then she dialed the number, and fortunately, she found me. And she actually explained to me that she needs the logbook. She so she needs the logbook, and how can we sort of like come to a stage whereby, and I said to her, the logbook because there's still some fines which are true to me. How can I give us logbook?
Well, we need to transfer the ownership of the car into our name so that it's legally ours, and therefore any licensing issues or any licensing fees and whatever will then be for us.
So basically you want the logbook so that the car legally belongs to you?
That's correct. Because we've paid a lot of money, insured the car. At this point, if anything was to happen to the car, insurance won't pay us out because you need a logbook to prove you owned the car in the first place. We don't want to have anything illegal on our side. We're trying to keep our side clean.
Well, ngeke nami ngimlingi logbook because nami ngizoluza. It's not only 70,000, but it's more than this. Njengoba ngilokhu ngichaza. I don't know, ngeke kodwa ngimnikeze logbook. It's the only thing nami which I feel it kind of like izobamba case yami ibe strong. Then if I give out the logbook, then that will be the end of this case. Not only on her, but also on a higher level, and also from a legal perspective as well. So yeah, ngisayibambile logbook purely for that. I'm the owner of the car.
Who's to stop him, really? Who's to stop him from coming and saying, I own that car and I want it back? I worry every day, and I have done now for the 6 months. Put it this way, we were still away for New Year, and I was still trying to phone Terence because when we were coming back, the car license was going to need to be done and whatever. So it's a constant source of stress. As you know, I end up in tears every time it comes up because, yeah, it's just, we don't live like this. And now we're forced to, as if we did something wrong. All we did was go to a dealership and buy a car. And, you know, we wouldn't even have had to do that if somebody else hadn't jumped a red robot and hit my husband. So, sorry, but it really feels like a raw deal for us. And I know that's like, it's just an emotional response, but it's how it feels.
I can't register my other car because Iliani Vimbili lapha, and I don't think ngizoy register anytime soon. Because purely for that, there needs to be some sort of like a way forward. She phones and then we are show and she cries sometimes, but now at the same time ngilahlekelwe. So I can't just hand over a logbook.
The Motor Industry Ombuds of South Africa describes itself as a body that resolves disputes where a deadlock has been reached in the automotive industry. They have the power to forward matters to the National Consumer Council for investigation and ultimate resolution.
And I strongly feel that I was let down. Yeah, in fact, they don't deliver their mandate, number one. Yeah, I sent them countless emails, yeah, saying that abangisize, but abazange bangisize. But from a consumer, because I am a consumer also in this case, indirectly, yeah, I'm very negative. My stance towards them is not of good.
Mr. wrote to the National Consumer Commission in September last year. We responded to Mr. in October, beginning of October, to say these are the process to follow. Number one, he sent an email, not a complaint form or a complaint in our prescribed complaint form. That's number one. It was also explained in our response. But what was most important that we were supposed to do, in fact, most importantly, what we were supposed to do first was to address the matter with a supplier. We assume that he did that and he failed. When that fails, he was supposed to refer his matter to MIOSA. MIOSA is an accredited ombudsman looking at the motor industry. He was advised to refer the matter to MIOSA. It doesn't look like he did that because when MIOSA intervenes, they refer the matter, or we refer a matter to MIOSA for mediation. When mediation fails, then they refer the matter to the National Consumer Commission to say, we have tried our level best.
The National Consumer Council says that they cannot assist Buyani in getting any of his money back.
We are guided by the Consumer Protection Act. Then a consumer, according to a Consumer Protection Act, it's when you buy, it's when you transact. In the case of Mr. He sold his car. He became a supplier. And unfortunately, we do not have jurisdiction in that matter. What he was supposed to do in this case again, he was supposed to refer his matter to the police.
However, in South Africa, going to the police is seldom an option residents are willing to explore.
You see, I now we shortfall on our side. Legally speaking, we also okay, but we document is very important. And I'm still the motor being actually my motor. So I with Masawi police with this, we have just allowed, as by error, somebody is strong.
Peto Ndaba of the NCC says that consumers must be critical and ask themselves hard questions before parting with their hard-earned money.
Did they check reviews first? Because I bet you, if they were to go check for reviews, ask around, can I trust this dealership? Njabulu, you've sold your car. How did you go about it? You know, and we always say, try to use reputable dealers. If you do your research and you find one negative review about that particular supplier or dealership, that's, for me, it's a good reason for you to walk away with your money, because you don't want to be a statistic. That's why we say, do your research. Yes, check the CK number, but compare that CK number with the details you have of that particular supplier. There's nothing wrong with cancelling the deal, you know, to say, I'm sorry, I have discovered 1, 2, 3. I am not going to go ahead with this, because those are the red flags. For example, you're buying a car and then you are told that deposit money into a personal bank account. You are dealing with a person, not a business. Unfortunately, the National Consumer Commission will not have jurisdiction. We won't be able to assist you if you deposited money into a personal bank account.
The NCC says there are many motor industry practices which are considered normal or standard, but actually have no basis in law.
Where they say you buy a car as is, what they call footstoots, that thing is not allowed. It doesn't appear anywhere in the Consumer Protection Act. By signing that, you are signing your rights away as a consumer to that particular supplier. However, there are remedies. When you buy a car, you're supposed to get all your documentation to be able to be free on the road. Can you imagine driving a car and then the next thing you get arrested for driving a stolen car? So we have jurisdiction as the National Consumer Commission. There is recourse. You can file your complaint with us. We will be able to investigate where we have to take the matter to the tribunal. We will definitely do that on your behalf, whereby we will find them, like I said, we will find them, you will get redress. You might say, I no longer want this car, I want something else, I want a different car, or I want my money back. They will give you your money back, because that will be a judgment by a tribunal. It becomes a judgment, basically.
In hindsight, could any of the consumers interviewed in this episode have done anything better?
I don't know. Gone to somebody that's a big dealership and paid more. You see a legit site, you know, they've got websites, they had, as I say, Google reviews. They took the car to be put onto the machine and to be tested, and they used the VIN number there, so, you know, it wasn't like they were reluctant to, you know, do anything. So nothing seemed to cause any red flags, like in your gut or anything. And as I say, we did a bit of due diligence, if you like. And it seems that they'd covered their tracks really well.
Yeah, because there were cars also on the display in our showroom. So I thought this was a dealership which was like moving. However, yeah, I think more research, also going, we're living in a age whereby, we industry now whereby we can go online and actually check consumers. There's Hello Pizza, there's Facebook, there's Instagram. People can actually share information about in the whereby they were not happy. So I should have done my proper homework. I think my homework was around in the region of 60%. I should have done more.
Hi. I-logbook nje ngeke ngize ngiyikhiphe nokuthi nje angiboni ngisazophinda kwa-trust ama-dealership. Kungcono i-dealership ithi iyayithenga kumina inginike imali nokuthi ithi sizokudayisela bese sikunika imali siyithengile imoto.
Cutting Edge further consulted a used car motor dealer to seek advice in the process of buying a used car.
You leave the car and the car paper. When I mean car paper is the documents for the vehicle. So you sign sales agreement with me as a third party. I'm selling the car on your behalf. It's more like an agreement. If anything goes wrong, you tell him how much you're looking for. Let's say maybe you bring a car you're looking for 75,000 rand. I say, okay, fine. I'm going to put my own makeup. But from that 75, you will have to pay 3,000 rand commission for the shop. But whatever makeup I'm making up, it's none of your concern. So when the car is sold, we communicate with the customer, if the person who brought the car to us, if he's okay with the price. If they agree on the price, we go ahead with selling the car. Then when the selling is done, it's done, we usually give the owner of the car 3 to 5 working days to transfer their money, because you want to be happy if the new owner is happy with the vehicle, there is no fault on the car. So when that is done, after 5 days, that's when we transfer the money back to the owner of the vehicle and take our own cut from the sales.
What advice can you give to potential sellers? Say if you and me sign a sale agreement, what are things that I need to watch out for as someone that's giving you my car to sell for me?
It's a bit difficult. Reason being, especially when approached by someone you don't know, you never being recommended by anyone. But the only advice I think I can give is to keep your documents. When you take your vehicle to a dealer to sell on your behalf, keep your original documents and give them copies. First, do research about the company where you're taking your car and try to find out from the people whom they deal with before, if they are legit, if they are giving a good service. Then from there, you can take your car after being satisfied with all the answer you will get from the person who has done business with them before.
What troubles am I going to face without a logbook if I buy a car and then I don't get the logbook?
If you buy a car and you don't have a logbook, there are 2 things you might be having to face. First of all, you won't be able to register the car under your name. Second, you might not be able to get a new license disc, because each car which is moving on the road, for it to move, it must be on the road. It must be licensed. And for it to be licensed, you have to register the car, and you cannot register the car if there is no logbook. So the logbook plays a very big importance when it comes to buying and selling a car, because you can buy the actual car, but if the logbook is not there, you are in big trouble.
Motorworld have ceased all communications with the people interviewed in this show. Buyani is still owed 70,000 rand. The Hlongwas are still owed 60,000 rand, while Juanita Skeepers is left with a car that's not licensed to be on the road.
I honestly don't know. I will probably try and continue to speak to them, but then at the same time, you know, maybe we'll just have to see if we can get Kaya to license the car or to renew the license so that the car is legal. But if he doesn't do that, then the car has to just not be driven anymore. So then it becomes a very expensive lawn ornament.
And this is what, 90,000 rand later?
Yeah. Bit more now. Probably 95,000 rand lawn ornament.